everything, let's cover a basic: homeostasis. Homeostasis is a steady state or internal balance. Cells usually maintain a close to constant environment no matter the outside conditions. The internal condition's typical state is known as the set point. Changes in this internal condition that occur above or below the set point are called the stimulus, which makes change. Receptors and sensors detect stimuli and trigger responses, which we will get into further into this video. The image shown is the loop and should explain a lot about homeostasis and the process around it. Negative feedback is a homeostatic response which reduces the stimulus. In this case, Reed is doing the one chip challenge, which, similar to negative feedback, tends to trigger a lot of sweating. Reed then drinks milk, which is a signal in this example to cool his mouth, as he's eating an extremely spicy chip and his body is not used to handling something like this. Positive feedback is another homeostatic response in which the stimulus is amplified in order to complete a process so they can return to the set point. As fruit ripens, it releases ethylene gas, and it keeps on producing this gas until it returns to a set point. So basically, this feedback loop is used because when fruits are exposed to this gas ethylene, it makes the ripening process faster and speeds up the whole process of returning to an original set point. So autocrine signaling is when a cell sends a signal to itself. In this example, Luke is the cell and is thirsty. He sends a signal to himself that he is thirsty and drinks water to rehydrate and replenish his thirst. Juxtacrine signaling is when cells communicate with each other through direct contact. Josh, who is a cell, states that he is thirsty and communicates with Luke, who is another cell who is directly adjacent to him. Luke pours a bit of water into Josh's mouth to replenish his thirst. Paracrine signaling is when cells communicate to nearby cells by releasing chemical messengers. Luke in this case is a cell and is communicating to 3 nearby cells, which are Reed, Nate, and Josh. The chemical messenger in this case is the mist setting on a hose, which hits all 3 people, or in this case cells, communicating with all 3 at once. Endocrine signaling is when cells communicate to cells further away by releasing chemical messengers that are carried to the target cell. In this case, Luke is a cell who is communicating with Josh, who is a faraway cell. Luke uses the jet function on a hose as a targeted beam of water to hit Josh, perfect for a cell that is farther away. In G-protein coupled receptors, G-proteins bind the energy-rich GTP. Josh is a G-protein, so he does the binding. Nate is GDP, and Luke is a subunit used to create GTP. The G-protein, or Josh, binds the two together, as shown when they lock hands, making Luke and Nate one molecule now, which is GTP. Receptor tyrosine kinases are membrane receptors that transfer phosphate groups from ATP to another protein. In this case, Josh is the receptor tyrosine kinase, Luke is the ATP, and Nate is the other protein. Josh takes the break from Luke, who is ATP, and gives it to Nate, who is the other protein, just like the function of the receptor tyrosine kinase. An ion channel receptor acts as a gate that opens and closes when the receptor changes shape. This gate only allows specific ions. In this case, the gate and Luke together represent the ion channel receptor. Josh is an ion trying to get in. At first, he is rejected, but then he tells Luke the secret passcode and is accepted into the receptor gate. Step 1 of signal transduction pathways is reception, in which a ligand binds to a receptor protein in a lock and key fashion, causing the receptor to change shape. Josh is putting a key inside of a lock to demonstrate the way in which a ligand binds to a receptor, while also dramatically failing to put this key inside the lock. In transduction, second step of the signal transduction pathways, the signal made previously is converted into a form that can produce a cellular response. In this case, dirty water is the signal, but only dirt can produce a cellular response. Luke converts the dirty water to just dirt in his hand, which is now the correct form for producing this said response. In the final step, step 3, of the signal transduction pathways, many different reactions can occur. In this example, Josh is a cell and receives a signal to drink water. Josh has various reactions to this, due to the signal possibly acting as a trigger or an activator. To prove just how much these reactions can vary, Josh has 2 good reactions, 1 neutral reaction, and 2 bad reaction, as shown above.